Hi, I'm Hazel. For 4 straight years, I juggled 3 jobs while maintaining a 3.8 GPA in computer science. Those 80-hour work weeks nearly broke me, but I had my eyes on the prize: financial independence and a career I could be proud of. Hazel, your delivery order is ready for pickup. My manager's voice echoed through the diner where I'd worked since freshman year. Coming, Rita. Just finishing this table's order, I called back, balancing plates on my arm while mentally reviewing code for my morning exam. My coworker Mia slid next to me at the counter. Girl, how are you still standing? Didn't you just come from your IT job at the library? Yeah, and I've got a tutoring session at 7 tomorrow morning before class, I said, checking the delivery address. Your family must be so proud of how hard you're working, Mia said, helping me pack the order. I shrugged. Mom says college is a waste of money when I could be helping with bills now. My brother Jake thinks I'm being selfish for not moving back home. Seriously? After they contributed exactly $0 to your education? Mia's eyes widened. According to Mom, family takes care of family, I said, mimicking her voice, which apparently only applies when I'm the one doing the taking care. Fast forward 3 years post-graduation. I'd landed a 6-figure job at a tech company after grinding through an entry-level position and proving myself indispensable. Miss Crawford, congratulations on the promotion. Thomas, the company's financial advisor, shook my hand warmly. Your performance reviews were outstanding. Thanks, Thomas. Still feels surreal, I admitted, staring at the offer letter. Have you thought about your financial planning now that you're entering a new tax bracket? He asked. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed with a call from Mom. Hazel? Jake told me about your promotion. That's wonderful news. Her voice carried an enthusiasm I rarely heard. Thanks, Mom. I've been working toward this for years, I replied, excusing myself from Thomas's office. So when can we expect you? We need to discuss how this changes things for the family, she said matter-of-factly. Changes things? What do you mean? I asked, confusion creeping into my voice. Well, your sister needs a new car, and Jake's been talking about going back to school, and the house needs a new roof. Wait, you're assuming I'm going to pay for all that? I interrupted. Mom's tone sharpened. Family takes care of family, Hazel. You've always been so selfish with your money. Now that you're making the big bucks, it's time you contributed. Mom, I put myself through college. I worked 3 jobs, and now you've got that fancy degree and fancy job because of it. You think you did that all by yourself? Who raised you? Who put food on the table? I felt my chest tighten. I need to go, Mom. I'm at work. Later that evening, Mia and I met for dinner at our favorite restaurant. You seem distracted, Mia observed, studying my face. My family found out about my promotion, I sighed. Let me guess. Suddenly they all need money? I nodded, then froze as I scrolled through my email. What the hell? What is it? Mia leaned forward. My cousin just thanked me for agreeing to pay for her wedding. My phone buzzed with a text from my uncle, also thanking me for my generosity in helping with his medical bills. Hazel, what's going on? Mia asked. I looked up, shock giving way to anger. My family's been telling everyone I'm their personal ATM. How many people have they promised your money to? Mia asked, signaling the waiter for another round of drinks. I'm still counting, I said, scrolling through messages. 3 cousins, my uncle, my sister's boyfriend, all thanking me for financial commitments I never made. That's beyond taking advantage. They're volunteering your money without permission, Mia said, indignation coloring her voice. My phone rang. It was Jake. I put it on speaker. Hey, sis. When are you sending that check? Mom said you'd cover my first semester tuition by Friday, he said without preamble. Jake, I never agreed to that. Mom didn't even ask me, I replied, keeping my voice steady. Come on, Hazel. Don't be stingy. You're making bank now while I'm stuck in this dead-end job. The same dead-end job you've had for 7 years because you refuse to apply anywhere else? I challenged. Not everyone gets lucky breaks like you, he snapped. Lucky? I worked 80-hour weeks for years, while living in your cushy apartment, not helping family. Mia reached across the table, squeezing my hand in support. Jake, I earned everything I have. I'm not responsible for financing everyone's lives, I said firmly. Wow, success really has changed you. Wait till Mom hears how selfish you've become. He hung up. The next day, I met with Thomas in his office. I appreciate you seeing me on such short notice, I said, settling into the chair across from him. Of course. You mentioned a financial situation with your family? Thomas folded his hands on the desk. My family is telling relatives I've agreed to give them money. Significant amounts. They're making financial promises in my name without my consent. Thomas's eyebrows shot up. Have they accessed any of your accounts? Not yet, but my mother's been asking for my banking information to help manage my finances, I explained. That's concerning. Has anyone taken loans or credit in your name? A cold feeling washed over me. I don't know. I haven't checked. Let's run a credit check right now, Thomas suggested, turning to his computer. 20 minutes later, my suspicions were confirmed. 2 credit card applications in your name, submitted last week, Thomas said gravely. The addresses are listed as your mother's home. She couldn't have... I stopped, remembering. My social security card. It was in my old lockbox at her house. This is identity theft, Hazel. Even from family. I called my Aunt Sarah, who lived near my mother. Sarah? It's Hazel. I need to ask you something important. Is this about the money you promised for Lily's college fund? We're so grateful. I never promised that, I interrupted. Who told you I did? Your mother at Sunday dinner. She said now that you're making 6 figures, you're setting up education funds for all the cousins. Everyone was there. Jake confirmed it. My throat tightened. What else did they say about my money? Well, Jake mentioned you're paying off his credit cards, and your mom said you're buying her a new car as a thank you for raising you, Sarah said hesitantly. Hazel, are you saying you didn't agree to these things? No, I didn't. They're lying to everyone. Sarah's voice dropped. I had a feeling something wasn't right. Ellen's been showing off designer purchases, saying they're gifts from you. After ending the call, I contacted a lawyer specializing in identity theft and family financial abuse. Based on what you've told me, we have several options, the lawyer, Miss Reed, explained. First, we need to document everything and file fraud alerts. What about my family? They'll say I'm overreacting, I said. Financial exploitation by family members is more common than you think, Miss Reed assured me. We'll approach this systematically, but you need to be prepared. Legal action against family is never easy. I nodded, resolve hardening. I understand. What's our first step? Sunday dinner at Mom's house? I'd asked Mia to come as moral support, and Thomas waited in his car outside, ready with documentation if needed. Hazel and Mia, right? Mom's smile faltered slightly. She hadn't expected witnesses. Hi, Mom, I said coolly. Where's everyone? In the dining room. I've made your favorite lasagna, she said, ushering us inside. Jake, my sister Amber, and her boyfriend Dylan sat around the table. An expensive-looking watch glinted on Jake's wrist, and Amber wore a designer handbag I recognized from the fraud alerts. Hazel's here, Mom announced, and she brought a friend. Hey, sis, Jake said, barely looking up from his phone. Did you bring those documents for me to sign? For the tuition payment? I remained standing. Actually, I brought different documents. Credit card applications in my name that I never authorized. The room went silent. What are you talking about? Mom asked, her voice tight. I've spoken with a lawyer. I know about the identity theft, and I know you've been promising my money to relatives without my knowledge, I said, meeting her eyes. Jake stood up. You're seriously making accusations? After everything this family's done for you? What exactly has this family done for me, Jake? Mom refused to complete financial aid forms for college. Dad left when I was 12. I've supported myself since I was 16. We gave you a home, Mom interjected. A home where I paid rent since high school, I countered. Amber shifted uncomfortably. Hazel, you're being dramatic. Mom just told people you wanted to help the family now that you're successful. By committing fraud in my name? I pulled out the credit card statements. These arrived at your address, Mom. Cards I never applied for, with thousands in charges. I was going to tell you, Mom said, her voice softening. It was supposed to be temporary until you transferred money to us. Money I never promised. You owe us. Jake slammed his hand on the table. We're family. That means sharing what you have. Family doesn't exploit each other, Mia said quietly. Mom turned to her. This is between family. You shouldn't be here. She's here because I asked her to witness this conversation, I replied, along with Thomas, my financial advisor, who's outside with copies of the fraud reports we filed. You filed reports against us? Mom's face paled. Against the person who stole my identity? Yes. The detective will be contacting you tomorrow. Dylan stood up. This is messed up, Hazel. Family handles things privately. Is that what you were doing when you told my cousins I was paying for their weddings and college? Handling things privately? I asked. We were going to discuss it with you today, Mom said, her tone shifting to pleading. We just assumed you'd want to help your family now that you can afford to. You didn't assume. You committed fraud, I said firmly. Hazel, I'm your mother. Everything I've ever done was for this family. Mom's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry if I overstepped, but I was only trying to help everyone. No. You were trying to control my money. You've been telling people I'll fund their lives without even asking me. Jake stepped toward me, finger pointing. You ungrateful little... Careful, Mia warned, phone in hand. I'm recording this. Get out of my house, Jake shouted, face reddening. Both of you. Gladly, I said. But first, I placed a folder on the table. These are copies of the police reports, credit fraud claims, and a cease and desist letter from my lawyer. Mom grabbed my arm. You can't do this to me. I'll tell everyone what an ungrateful daughter you are. Let go of me, I said quietly. Not until you fix this. Call off the fraud claims. We're family. Jake moved toward me threateningly. You better listen to Mom or what? I challenged. He shoved me backward, hard enough that I stumbled into the wall. That's assault, Thomas said from the doorway, phone recording. I've called the police. The temporary restraining order has been granted, Miss Reed confirmed, sliding the document across her desk. Based on the physical assault and the documented identity theft, the judge was quite decisive. Will there be criminal charges? I asked, still processing everything. The district attorney is reviewing the case. Your brother's assault had witnesses and the financial fraud is well documented, she explained. They'll likely offer a plea deal, probation and restitution. I nodded slowly. And the credit fraud claims? Already approved. Your credit has been restored and the companies are pursuing the charges independently, Thomas added from beside me. Mia squeezed my shoulder. How are you feeling about all this? Relieved? Sad? But mostly free, I admitted. 3 weeks later, I was settling into my new apartment, address unknown to my family, when my phone rang with an unfamiliar number. Hazel? It's Aunt Sarah. Hi, Sarah, I said cautiously. I wanted to check on you. The family's in an uproar after the court date. I'm sure they are, I replied, keeping my voice neutral. Your mother's telling everyone you've abandoned the family and made up lies about her, Sarah continued. But Amber called me yesterday. She admitted everything. The fraud, the lies about you promising money. Why the sudden honesty? I asked. The plea deal requires admission of guilt. Jake's looking at probation and community service for the assault. I let out a long breath. And Mom? Credit fraud charges. She's not handling it well. Sarah paused. She wants to talk to you. Says she's sorry and wants to make amends. No, I said firmly. I'm not interested in her apologies. She's still your mother, Hazel. A mother who stole my identity and tried to exploit me after I'd already worked myself to exhaustion to succeed without her help. Later that evening, I met Mia and Thomas for dinner to celebrate my new promotion, a director position that came with a significant raise. To Hazel, Thomas raised his glass. The most determined person I know. And the bravest, Mia added. Standing up to family is harder than standing up to strangers. My phone buzzed. Jake's number. I declined the call, then another immediately from my mother. They're persistent, Thomas observed. They're desperate, I corrected. The court ordered restitution payments. A text came through from Mom. Please, Hazel, we need to talk. I'm truly sorry. Family should stick together. I've learned my lesson. Are you going to respond? Mia asked. No, I said, putting my phone away. I gave them chances for years. I'm done. Your sister called the office today, Thomas mentioned. I didn't tell her I was meeting you. What did she want? To explain that it was all a misunderstanding, that your mother was just trying to help the family and things got out of hand. I shook my head. A misunderstanding is using the wrong name or forgetting an appointment. Identity theft and fraud are deliberate choices. She also said your mother's missed mortgage payments and might lose the house, Thomas added carefully. Not my problem, I said firmly. I worked 80-hour weeks while they called me selfish for not giving them money I didn't have. Now they can figure out their own finances. You don't owe them anything, Mia affirmed. My phone rang again. Amber this time. Against my better judgment, I answered on speaker. What, Amber? Hazel, please, her voice cracked. Mom's a mess. She might lose everything. That's the consequence of her actions, I replied. She's sorry. We all are. Can't you forgive family? Family doesn't steal from family. Family doesn't exploit family. People make mistakes, Amber pleaded. Mistakes? She systematically lied about me, stole my identity, and tried to guilt me into financing everyone's lives after I worked myself to the bone for years. Those aren't mistakes. They're choices. So you're just cutting us off forever? Amber asked incredulously. Yes, I said simply. I am. After hanging up, Thomas raised an eyebrow. You know they'll keep trying. And I'll keep declining, I said with finality. I spent years exhausting myself to build my life. I'm not letting them tear it down. To boundaries, Mia raised her glass again. And consequences, I added, clinking my glass against hers. Have you ever had family members feel entitled to your success after not supporting your journey? What would you have done in Hazel's situation? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about setting boundaries and standing up for yourself.